Hi guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 22nd of May 2021. I wanted to do some analysis on CHSP for the weekend, just kind of get a feel for what we could potentially be expecting going forward into the coming weeks. As always, it's just my thoughts and opinions, so just be careful what you're doing. And on top of that, don't expect anything, too dramatic, in terms of, the next week or so. Unless something dramatic happens in the marketplace, obviously that's different, that's a driver, that's a catalyst. But we're just talking about normal sort of market movements and things like that. I'm not expecting anything yet because obviously we've had a pretty significant sell-off, market-wide, and we have to let that settle, let it do its thing. So we'll see. The first thing to note, obviously, on the weekly is that price came all the way down to around about 41-ish, and we'll just call it 40, okay, 40 cents. So that's a pretty dramatic move, all right? Now, when we see things like this, we have to remember and take a step back because it's very easy to look at that and say, damn it, why wasn't I ready? If I only just this and if I only just that, it doesn't really matter, okay? There's going to be plenty of opportunities. This is something that I had to learn as I was progressing in my trading, and trying to understand, the markets. The biggest challenges that I've ever faced is psychological, right? And I used to do this all the time. I used to sit there and think, flipping heck, I've just missed this trade and blah, 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 blah. And that used to get me in and out of trades I didn't need to be in. I used to chase price all the time, okay? Whereas we don't need to do that. As time goes by, you start to realize that there's plenty of opportunities like this. There may not be an opportunity, for example, down at 40 cents again. Okay, fine. But isn't that actually a good thing? Do we really want Swissborg going all the way back down to 40 cents again? I don't. In terms of those who are new to CHSB and new to Swissborg or new to investing in general and have decided to put some money into CHSB, for them it's a great opportunity. But for the majority of people, we're already in Swissborg. Okay, we believe in what Swissborg is doing and we're already in it. So do we really want to see prices down here at 40? No, we don't. Of course not. We want to see price continuing now to drive higher, stabilizing much higher, and then starting to kind of, give us confirmation that we're going to be going towards those all-time highs, which I'm not expecting obviously soon, but I'm just saying. So beneath us, we're talking about 10 cents now. I mean, if you really want to get technical in terms of liquidity, in terms of, imbalances and all of the things that you hear me talking about, you're talking about between 10 and 15 cents, If it goes to 15 cents, I mean, wow, yeah, that's all I'll say. And I will buy as much as I can at 15 cents if Swissborg ever gets down to 15 cents. But I'm simply not expecting that. So if we go over to the daily chart, and again, we see this kind of common theme, this picture. We've seen this picture, it's during the smart talk, and we see it quite a lot. And what's interesting, and I'll just show you now, somebody actually spotted this, so well played. I don't always put things on the charts because it gets a bit cluttered up, but that's effectively where price ran into. Okay, we had that breakout, pause, and then breakout. And this area of liquidity down here is what it ran straight for. This area of liquidity down here hasn't been tapped into just yet. Yeah, so if it did start to gain some legs to the downside, I would imagine that 30s, sort of late 30s to mid 30s is somewhere that it would want to go. But again, I'm just discussing the levels, so we're mindful of them. I'm not saying that that's what I'm expecting or I think price is going to go down to these levels. Okay, so there is a lot of work for Swissborg to do, and I'll say unless we have an explosive move to the upside that clears all of this, so just one strong solid day or week that just rips to the upside and gets us back around about 120 to 140, then we have to expect this kind of slow, monotonous, boring grind, to nowhere and then kind of up a little bit. And the key level is obviously above 1, then 120, and then we need to stabilize around about 135 to 140. And these levels are going to take some time to be traded to. There are things obviously that can help along the way. Excuse me. I.e. the company releasing news, bringing something, live and so on. These are all catalysts that can definitely help price, and, we welcome them. But in terms of liquidity and the way that, things are currently with CHSB, expect a slow grind, okay? I will start to go down to some of the lower time frames. We don't really have much to work with in terms of to the left, so what we have to do is, this is the daily, okay? So With the way that we have all of this wiki price action back and forth, it's actually facilitating trade and scooping up or absorbing liquidity from down to up to down. So it's kind of clearing everything out and dealing off that liquidity. What that means is, let's imagine that you just have, for argument's sake, you know, a straight candle like this, okay, and you know there's liquidity in the top quarter and the bottom quarter, okay. Let's just assume that for a second, you know, and price is currently sitting, say, here, and it's going up and down a little bit, down, up, down, down, and let's say it does this, it rips up and then it comes down again, then it rips down and it comes up again. We've just absorbed sell liquidity and buy liquidity, so that's all gone, right? It doesn't constantly replenish all the time. We have obviously a live orders that hit the marketplace, and then price has to run to try and fulfill those, you know, those orders. That's different. But we're talking about resting liquidity that's sat there, you know, and in this example we have resting liquidity in the top quarter and we have resting liquidity in the bottom quarter. And if price does what I've just explained, you know, and it runs up and it runs down and it kind of stabilizes and runs up and then runs down and kind of stabilizes and then runs up or down and then back up, and you know, all of this stuff, it's absorbing liquidity top side and bottom side, but it's not really going anywhere, yeah, which is exactly what we're seeing on CHSB right now. We're seeing, you know, whatever liquidity was here, that's been taken on that candle. Whatever liquidity was resting within this wick, that's been taken on that wick. Whatever liquidity was resting in this wick, it was taken on this one, and the low was taken as well. Anybody that was trying to go long, for example, or the stops are taken. I know there's no stops on CHSB, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point. So this back and forth, all the way down, is dealing off of liquidity, which leaves us with a portion of liquidity down here within this tail, okay, that is remaining, okay, but for us to see that, we have to go, you know, all the way down to a much lower time frame. Yeah, you can see this is still a wick on the hourly. Let's go down to the 15-minute. You know, you can see the breakup just there. Obviously, there's a small gap that was traded straight through, and then we have this last portion down here of wick. So let's go and take a look at that wick and see what that's looking like. Let's go down to a nope. Not interested. I should have just pressed 5. There we go. Okay, so let's go back. This is the 5-minute. You know, I really want to pause the video right now and go and eat, go and grab an ice cream. The ice cream van's just come. Sorry, I'm like a kid. So yeah, you can see big drop, a little bit of a reversal. You know, and if we, that's so annoying that it does that. Why does it do that? Okay, let's go all the way down to this last portion. Go down to the 1-minute chart, and this is getting a bit silly now, but this is what I like to do. I like to break things down, kind of get a feel for how price moves around in these wicks. This is going to take a while, guys, sorry, but it's worth it, because then we can see exactly what price was doing. So an easier way of doing this. What are we on now? 23rd, 19th. Okay, we're getting close. Here we go. So, and you can see how price within that wick is traded, and you can see as price is going down, look at the calmness, the facilitation. It's actually very interesting that there was only in that last portion, as it was reaching for that lower level liquidity, all right, where it started to accelerate, and it skips just there. So price skips from 61 to around about 58, all right, and that gets traded straight through just there. And then this is the imbalance, and it gets traded through. And you'll notice that I'm going a little bit deeper with some of the things that I'm discussing. This doesn't mean, you know, just go and find these little areas and then, you know, try and trade into them. You will absolutely get destroyed. Yeah, don't do that. But this is about understanding, you know, where price could potentially need to go, you know, and where we have to be aware and mindful of these levels, because if we're not, what happens is we end up getting caught on the wrong side of trade sometimes, and our timing is way off. So you can see very efficient all the way down. That last little portion, which was from sort of 60 to 40-ish, yeah, was when it started to accelerate, and then that was recovered quite nicely, and then it starts to grind back up. And look at the way it grinds back up. It starts to run quite quickly, yeah, quite quickly. Now, in fact, I'm not going to say. I was just about to say something then, but I'm going to save it for the video lessons that I do, because, you know, I don't want to I don't want to give too much away yet. All right, so that's where we were with that. Let's get rid of this now, and then go to the 4-hour chart and just kind of get a little bit of a feel. And again, there is nothing that I see within this. So the point of that entire exercise is basically this: if price starts to run down, there's nothing here that's going to stop it, basically. So it's just going to go and dip into this liquidity pool here. That's effectively what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so be mindful of that. All right, if price does start to accelerate to the downside or starts to go lower again, there's nothing within this area that's going to stop price. It's going straight for this. Yeah. Upside. There is an area here, so that's just above 1, but everything else is pretty efficiently traded to the downside. A lot of this stuff's been dealt off very, very nicely. There's just a small pocket of imbalance just here, which wouldn't make really that much of a difference if price starts to drive up there. So we're going to have to just leave things be, let CHSB do its thing, be patient, be calm, and kind of just wait for things to do whatever they're going to do. In terms of Bitcoin, same sort of scenario really. I'm not going to bother going into this, but the wick, but same sort of scenario on the way back up. Effectively with Bitcoin, there's a lot of stuff going on with Bitcoin right now. So we just have to kind of, again, let it do its thing. Upside, I said in the chat earlier, we really need to be back above 43,000 really, and kind of stabilize there. If we don't, then we're probably just going to maybe grind a little bit lower, and that's about it really. I'm not seeing much of anything else. In terms of downside, I mean, if we clear that last portion of liquidity here, man, we could very well see 20,000 to 22,000. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let's see how the flows are on the hourly. That first portion was taken, so we can get rid of this now. That's the remaining areas. If we get near this one, it will accelerate very quickly, and it will probably stay above this after that. But this is why we need to clear this. We need to clear this imbalance, sell off a little bit, and start to grind higher and get back above that 46. If we get back above 46, we're golden, I think. But you can see, you can see this, guys. Yeah, it drops very quickly and then takes ages to go back up. So keep an eye on 40,300. That's an interesting level. If we get through that and then clear this area, then we should start to grind towards this. But from that candle right here all the way to where we are now, there is nothing in terms of rebalancing or liquidity that needs to be absorbed. It's here. This is the area here. So if it does start to pop and go up to the upside, this is where I'm expecting price to go. Doesn't mean it'll go in a straight line. Doesn't mean price will just, go vertical. It may bounce around a little bit along the way, but that last portion, say here, boom. Yeah, that's what we want to see. And then complete rebalancing there, stabilize, and then go straight for this. Yeah. And that's it. So that's Bitcoin, and that's all I really wanted to say, guys. I just wanted to kind of pop on, just do a little bit of analysis on CHSB for now. But again, the common theme going forward is probably going to be, at least for the next couple of weeks, unless something dramatic happens, boring sideways action, price dropping, to 60, say, and then grinding back up to 80, and then dropping to 70, and then grinding back up to 85, and then dropping to 65, and we're going to get a lot of that. I think that's what we're I think that's what we're going to be going through over the coming weeks, and then hopefully some catalyst will boom, get this going again. But that's what I see on the liquidity flows. That's what I see in the imbalances, distribution of buy and sell. And with all of that said, guys, I hope everyone's having an awesome Saturday. There was a comment, which I'll just mention right now. That's somebody said in the chat about cheesecake. This is blasphemous, guys. Yeah, don't talk about cheesecake in the chat, okay? It's carrot cake. Carrot cake is it. Period. Done. Yeah. I can't be having no talk about carrot cake. Sorry about cheesecake. This is blasphemy, man. This is blasphemy. But all jokes aside, I'll catch up with you guys in the chat. And as always, guys, just be mindful of the smart talk that comes on Thursdays. We had a phenomenal smart talk last week. It was brilliant. Lots of questions. It was really, really nice. So just be mindful of that. If you can, please come. We have a lot of fun, and we do talk about topics that are very relevant, to the crypto space, and we do a lot of education. Ben goes for a lot of good stuff, and yeah. So make sure you're there. Thursdays, 6:30 GMT. And with that said, guys, have a great weekend, and I will catch up with you soon. Take care.